Two. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our My Inner Guru broadcast tonight. We've got an awesome guest tonight. We're both stoked to be here. Dr. Nima Rahmany. I think I said it wrong. Rahmany.
Yes, you did. We covered that before the interview, and you went ahead and said it wrong anyway. That's okay.
I did. Oh my God, I'm ashamed. Awesome. So thanks for joining in, Nima. Rahmany, I got it. All right, that's great. And I've only known you for, I was counting today, 20 years. Isn't that wild, eh?
You know who you were, Norm? You were that crazy network guy from back in school. You're the crazy network guy, the energy guy who was about DE, and that's why it's so fitting that your title is My Inner Guru.
Love it. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it feels really authentic to me. And I know something really authentic to you is our title of our topic tonight. And before we jump into that, I want to just give a big shout out. I see a lot of people jumping on board already. And if you're live here in the field, type in your name, where you're from. We want to welcome you. And so, Dr. Nima, you're a chiropractor.
I am. Wait. I want to make sure, can everybody hear? I just heard Kara, who was on. Can people hear this? Are they responding? If you can't hear, then make sure you, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you too. I just want to make sure everybody else can. If we can have somebody let us know if they can hear or not.
Absolutely. This is an interactive evening tonight. I want everybody to know that as much as there's going to be a conversation between Nima and I and our Innate, we also want to include you guys out there too. So jump on board, throw in where you're from, and that you can hear us.
Mm-hmm.
So Nima, you're a chiropractor, and your passion is talking about approval. How do we
I have a lot of things that I love talking about, but yeah.
All right, and this was the one that you wanted to really look at tonight. How do you go from like a chiropractor to our topic tonight? You know, what gives you the right to be talking about this sort of topic? Yes,
that's a great question. What the hell am I doing talking about approval? Well, it's such a journey to talk about this whole concept of the war of approval, because I am a chiropractor. I was raised as a Baha'i in a primarily Christian upbringing, so I had a perception that I didn't have approval there. I decided I wanted to become a chiropractor rather than a medical doctor, which in a Persian household, it's kind of a weird thing. You know, my parents didn't really understand what the hell a chiropractor is, and so they didn't really approve of my decision to become a chiropractor. So there was a little bit of a war of approval going on there, and it's a very common one. Hey, Jen. Hello, Tara. It's a very common thing for many chiropractors who, you know, they really want to go out and help a lot of people, but they'll have their patients consistently throughout the course of their care. Like, what do you hear? You know, Norm, what do you usually hear when you're
Can you fix this?
Or when they say, well, let me see, I'm going to see what my doctor says about what you say. And, you know, they basically want to get the approval of their medical doctor before they go ahead and take part in your services. So there was that war of approval going on there. And then when I decided I really love chiropractic, but I want to go deeper into this whole concept of healing and the mind-body connection and helping people transcend their stresses, because let's be honest, nine times out of 10, the reason why patients come to a doctor in the first place, stress is the underlying trigger. So I just wanted to go deeper. And when I told my parents I had this dream of traveling the world and speaking and you know, moving on from my chiropractic practice, they were just like, what the heck, you're going to regret it. And they were dead set against, you know, that. So I was fighting another war of approval. And as I do the work that I do when I'm coaching, I'm a mental optimization coach, and I help people who are stressed, depressed, and anxious transform when they're in a transition from relationship or career or any life transition, that stress of expansion. What I find is people who are struggling with health concerns the war of approval is very present. In other words, they want to do something, that the fear of being who they truly are, their authentic selves, the fear of not being accepted and approved of by friends, family, mother, father, preacher, teacher, any person that they subordinate to, that fear of that disapproval covers their authentic, gets them, or they have it that they got to hide their authentic selves, and then that impacts their health. And so when I saw my own journey in this war of approval and the work that I had to do in order to transcend it and then live the life of my design and be healthy and purposeful and live, full on the way that I wanted to, I started seeing clients who were sick, stressed, and stuck going through the same story. I want to do this, but what will these people think? I want to tell the truth, but I don't want to hurt anybody, and somebody's going to be disapproving of that. And then I just started saying, oh my God, this whole war of approval actually has an impact on their health. And most health problems can be traced back to events that caused us to put on the belief that I'm not good enough because there was a lack of approval or a rejection. So winning the war of approval is critical if you want to be healthy, you want to live a fulfilling life, which is what you and I work with our clients to achieve: health, fulfillment, prosperity. It's all about you learning how to win the war of approval. So I'm a chiropractor, and I talk about how to dance like you don't give a shit who's watching.
Love it, man.
Don't dance like, what I always say is, dance like no one's watching. What does that mean, Norm? What does that mean to you? Dance like no one's watching.
It's just being free, letting myself groove with what I'm feeling juiced about, the music that I like, to my own rhythms, let myself be free.
Yeah, but okay, so listen to this. Why is it, what does that mean, dance like no one's watching? Because if someone were watching, then what, Norm?
Right, then I would change my dance. I would change. I would dance according to, now I've got to impress that person. Are they looking at me? Do they like me?
Why? Exactly.
Yeah.
Dance like no one's watching. We all pretend like this is an inspiring quote, but think about what the belief system underlying dance like no one's watching means. It means dance like no one's watching, because if someone were watching, then I can't be free. Why? Because I won't have their fucking approval.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed it. I officially have banished, I have ordained and self-proclaimed, because I'm an egomaniac, a self-proclaimed completely just let's abandon the dance like no one's watching meme and change it. Instead of dance like no one's watching, we got to dance like there's a million people watching and they're judging you if you don't give a shit.
All right.
More inspiring to me than the alternative.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you definitely just increased the bar there, my friend. Well done. That's great. And so where do we get started? There's a lot of people out there who's like really jiving with the conversation, but I think for a lot, they're new to it. And they might have been subordinating themselves to outside peer pressure, what their parents thought, what their guru's been telling them, what their teachers have been telling them. They're so disconnected from their authentic selves. They might have a feeling that something's not right, that they aren't expressing their authentic nature, but they have nowhere to even begin. So can you give us some tips on how to pinpoint where we are being inauthentic, where we're out of line with our core essence? How do we get started in this?
Well, the first thing that you do is, it's inherent in all of us. Who really wants to, it's inherent in all of us, because social rejection in a primitive sense basically means that you don't survive, right? So that translates into, from a primitive sense, if you are alone, we're social creatures. We're like dogs. We're pack animals. And so we're interdependent. So if you're outside of the pack, then your chances of survival back in hunter-gatherer days are a lot less. So it's in our DNA to really want to be accepted and connected with other people. But it gets to a point, and it's healthy because it forces us to, want to interact with others, want to play nice and want to communicate in the values of other people. But it can go so far to the point where it causes us stress and anxiety and actually depression. So where do you begin? I mean, this is a really complicated thing. I see people with social anxiety, with depression, symptoms of anxiety and depression. They've been, ordained by a medical doctor with a condition and given medication. One of the great places that you start when I'm working with my clients when they're dealing with this anxiety of not being approved of and anxiety of social rejection or rejection of any kind with family is that it's usually an old trigger. It's usually something from your past. When I work with my clients and I do my one-on-one sessions with the overview method, which is what I have, this tool that I help clear these anxieties and stresses, it's usually a story from your childhood. It's usually a memory. If you're listening, you want to think back on a time where that little rejection button was really triggered for the first time in a powerful way. And then you'll come up with a story like when you were in the second grade, you were bullied. Or when you were in the 9th grade and you were doing public speaking, you got up and gave a talk and people were making fun of you. And those little experiences leave a stain on your nervous system. And the impact of that is that you walk through life fearing the rejection of other people. So what you do is, in an effort to prevent yourself from that negative emotion, you put on a mask. You appease. You try to become agreeable. You say yes to things constantly. You don't know how to say no. You're not able to say no, so you take on so much and you get adrenal fatigue. You get anxiety, you don't sleep at all. It manifests, this war of approval manifests in so many ways that I guarantee you that if you've been diagnosed with an illness, it can be traced back to an abandonment, a rejection, an approval type of story. Guaranteed. If you have a diagnosable illness, it's wise for you to look back on a time where this was prevalent for you, where it happened, where it was triggered in you. I have an incredible story with a client of mine who was diagnosed with MS. This is an amazing, this blew my mind. Diagnosed with MS. And she had it 5 years ago. So when you have something, when you have been diagnosed with a chronic illness, anxiety, depression, these are the ones that as my bread and butter that I, 2 hands tied behind my back, I can really help somebody overcome. It's so simple when you do the work for it. You ask the question, thanks Karen, when did this start? So with this patient of mine who had MS, she goes, this is 5 years ago. So we went back and said, okay, so what happened 5 years ago? And there was this big family event that caused her to be rejected. Boom, there we go. There's that approval thing. And one of the things, as a strategy, she started developing this type of chronic illness. And one of the questions that I asked her about this was that, what does this illness, what feeling, I don't know how I came up with this question. It just came to me because I was in a flow-like state in the session. And I asked her, I said, what feeling does this illness give you or prevent you from feeling that you would have to feel that's uncomfortable if you didn't have multiple sclerosis? Do you get what I'm saying? It's a little of a complicated, convoluted question. I don't know how I came up with it, but it just came to me. And I asked her, I said, listen, let's say you didn't have MS. What feelings would you have to feel that are too uncomfortable for you to deal with if the MS wasn't there? And then she goes, rejection. Because she discovered that the MS, the gift of her MS, was that her mother, who she always had felt like she was not good enough for, rejection and approval, the MS gave her the gift of her mother's approval. Her mother finally came over, was helping her with laundry, felt sorry for her. And this illness that, she's limping, and the limp gets better and worse, right? Depending on how stressed she is. The symptoms of these chronic illnesses rise and fall depending on the content of our minds. The symptoms can all of a sudden spontaneously be gone. And if the mindset is right, if the conditions and the environment, which is mindset, is right, and diet and exercise and all that stuff. So it hit her. She goes, holy shit. You mean to tell me that I'm manifesting this because I want my mother's approval? And I looked at her like this. What do you think? And she's like, holy shit. Oh my God. This was a very uncomfortable thing for her to face. And I swear to God, the next day when I talked to her, I said, how are you doing? She goes, it's weird. My limp is gone. Now, we just did one session. It was a gift to her. And I told her that's something for us to explore. That's something very wise for us to work on and get to the bottom of so that you can actually heal. Guess what she did?
I'm dying to hear it.
I never fucking heard from her ever again. She's like, wait.
Yeah.
She's like, wait. What? You mean I could actually get rid of this strategy to get love because I've created no other strategies in my life except this to find love and approval?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, yeah. Goes, all right, I'll think about it.
Wow, eh?
Never fucking heard from her again. And it's true because this was the biggest aha. This was one of the reasons that made me want to leave my chiropractic practice and then only work with those who actually wanted to heal and do the work. I was sick and tired of seeing patients coming in on disability, telling me their little victim stories and going, oh, I'm so much in pain. I want to get out. And I'm like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. We can actually fix this. This is what's going to happen, and all of this. And then all of a sudden I never hear from them again because people would rather be sick than to feel or deal with the pangs of rejection. People would rather be sick than to feel disapproved of and rejected. That blew my mind. And so I created a program that's only that I screen people very exclusively, and I only work with those who are ready to win the war of approval, which is really about connecting with your highest values, creating a mission statement that is very congruent with what's true to you, not with what your mommy and daddy wants from you, but what actually you want, not what your mommy, daddy, preacher, teacher, whatever said that you should be doing, but what's actually true for you, what's inspiring to you. If it's to be a singer, if it's to be a painter, if it's to be a priest, I don't know what that is for you. Whatever's most meaningful to you is already there, and you know what that is. But these clouds of what are other people going to think? What are my friends going to think? Who am I to make such a difference in the world? And all of these voices of outside approval, which are mirroring the inner critic inside that we have to learn how to transcend. And once you learn how to do that, then you've gotten that foundation. Then we can take all of those past events, clear the traumas, clear the dramas, clear the resentment, clear the guilt, clear the shame, clear all of these stories and triggers that put you in a place of unworthiness. And then once you do that, and you do it systematically, I've figured it out how to do it. I mean, case study after case study, client after client. I know there's a few of my clients that are, tuning in and listening in, and chime up, share your experience of this process over 60 to 90 days is completely transformative, but the person has to be willing to feel the disapproval. It's like, I don't want to do that and get that disapproval. If in order for you to have a breakthrough, in order for you to win the war of approval, you have to take a step that's going to put you in a place where others are going to disapprove of you. And most people aren't actually willing to do that. So it's like you want to break through in this war of approval. We have to take a step that's going to actually challenge the values of the people around you, because people live, you know this story, people live according to their values, and everyone lives by a hierarchy of values. And we sense and we judge and we filter the universe based on what we think is good if it supports our values, or we give it a thumbs down if we think it challenges our values. So the big breakthrough for me, that's right, you got to make yourself uncomfortable. The big breakthrough for me was I was living in the delusion that my parents should support me. So when I told them I wanted to be a chiropractor, when they lived under the whole kind of illusion growing up in Iran and coming here, and it's all about medicine. When I said I want to do chiropractic, they didn't understand it. I perceived it as a lack of support, but they weren't unsupportive. They were just fearful. They were imposing their fears on me of what if we don't know what this chiropractic thing is. And now when I built up $1 million practice, they're my biggest fans. They're telling everybody about me. They're coming, getting adjusted. They love it. And then when I got bored of dealing with, people at the end stage of the stress, and I wanted to get to the root cause and move on, and all of a sudden I said, Mom, Dad, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to speak, and I'm going to transform people's lives and doing coaching and move from the brick and mortar, sell my practice and become a coach. They were like, what are we going to tell our friends? Oh my God. So it wasn't a great thing. And then again, I was like, you don't support me. That was my delusion that they should see things my way. So just by shifting the perception and knowing that support comes in many different forms, and people are only going to support things that they perceive are supportive of your values. And that way, when they're not being supportive according to your perception, you can still love them and love yourself and still move forward with power and freedom and full self-expression. And so that's the journey that I went through. And so what I do is I love taking other people through that exact same journey. Your mess becomes your message.
Love it. Okay, here's a value bomb, guys. There's tons of wisdom in here. And Nima, you are definitely hitting home with me. I feel like you're speaking right to my heart. I'm getting it. I'm feeling it. It's resonating.
Come on, Norm, tell the truth. Whose approval are you afraid of losing, brother?
Oh my God, my father's. I mean, I cannot realize how much little Norm is still dying to get daddy's approval.
Yeah.
And I see it and it comes up, and every time it comes up, I'm like, oh my goodness, do it
again. It's like me as well. When I go over to because my dad is an engineer, right? And he's not great with communication one-on-one. He's great. He's a fantastic speaker when he's an MC. He's hilarious. He's funny. In a room full of people, he can just slay the room. But on a one-on-one basis, it's just awkward, and he's not in touch with his emotions and all that. So it's weird. So he's quiet, and he's, at a dinner table, or he's like this and looking down and not making eye contact. I'm perceiving a lack of approval. So every time I go over there, I find myself trying to give him my resume, how awesome I'm doing. Look at how great things. Can you relate to that? Look, daddy, look at how great I'm doing. I'm making so much money. I'm transforming lives. Please approve of me. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm 41 years old. And the thing is, it never comes in the form that I want it. Even though it's there, I find out from other people, oh man, your dad, he talks amazing about you. He can't stop talking. Like, I went to my dad's work. He paraded me around like I'm like his pride and joy. And all of his coworkers were like, no, your dad talks about, so this is the son. Oh, you're the speaker. You're the chiropractor. And I'm like, where is this? Is this the same guy we're talking like? And so it's so, you can relate to this? am I like speaking to you, brother? Yeah. So, but here's the cool part. Let me help you out with this. I'm going to help you out with this. If your dad rolled out the red carpet for you and gave you all that, oh son, I'm so proud of you. Approval that you think that you wanted, you wouldn't be hustling so hard. We wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be finishing your work, seeing patients all day. It's now what, 6:56 where you are. I'm in South Carolina, so you're 3 hours behind. You just finished a day at the office. You should be home having dinner with your wife, but you're having this conversation with me because you're playing the online game. You're expanding your reach. Your message now is on all four corners of the globe because you're trying to prove yourself to Dad. Thank God for this little war of approval, because it's pushing you to serve at a greater level. And that's the reframe. That's the powerful reframe that can cause you to turn around and go, Dad, I'm so grateful for your perceived lack of approval. You can tell I had it that you don't approve of me, but in reality, you're just a reflection of how I don't approve of myself.
Boom. That's it. And, I've had moments where I have connected with that gratitude and really come into heart space with my dad. And
it's a daily practice.
And the phone rings spontaneously like the next day. And it's my old man who's phoning me, and he's saying, and I'm like, hey, I'm busy right now, and I'm at a show. And he's like, oh yeah, I knew you were going to be at a show. I just wanted to call and wish you good luck for being at the show. Like, you never phone me and wish me good luck. But it was my shift in the way I was perceiving our relationship that changed our interface with each other. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. Can I offer you something? Thank you, Travis, by the way. God bless you, brother. Can I offer you something? It's that I want you to see this. This was a big aha for me. I took the plunge. I was having a moment in the summer, like in the fall, when my dad and I were at odds with each other, and I was perceiving a lack of approval. And then all of a sudden, I just said, listen. I text my dad. I was going to Rome, Italy, to speak in front of my colleagues, chiropractors. And it never occurred to me. I was like, why doesn't my dad understand me? I was telling this whole story. Why doesn't my dad understand and approve? It never occurred to me. It never really occurred to me that I've never really invited my dad into my world. So I texted him and I said, Dad, would you like to come to Italy with me? Let's do a father-son trip. I invited both of my parents, but my mom was looking after her parents who aren't doing very well. So I said, so my dad and we did our first father-son trip in 13 years to Italy. It was incredible. It was awesome. Two things that I learned. Number one, we are so fucking different in what we love and what we appreciate. I absolutely look at things exact opposite to him. Our brains are so different. I'm very right brain. Sorry, which is the one that's creative, is the right brain. Yeah. He's very left brain, engineer. I'm very right brained. We see things completely different, and that's okay. We got along. And the second thing was, while I'm trying to seek his approval, I didn't realize that he's doing the same with me. And what I want to offer you is that if you can really get off of this subordination and look at him as a human being from an overview perspective, he's dying to have you acknowledge and approve of him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
amen. I got it, man. And that's
give yourself 1 week of be in that space of, I'm going to show my dad my approval of him. And I promise you're going to call me next week and go, holy shit, my relationship with my dad has totally transformed. And it has. And it will. When I remember to keep it as a daily practice, because those old triggers have their way of rearing their ugly head.
Awesome, man. That's the practice for sure. What it is that we're starving for, that's for us to give. And
for us to give, yeah. If you feel you're missing it, that's a sign that you be wise to be giving it.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay.
Jan, try that. Jan, would you do that and join my Facebook group, The Art of Powerful Alignment? The Art of Powerful Alignment. Join that group and share what the impact was on that, Jan. I'd love to hear. You're going to do that. That's great. Do that. Turn it around. Assume that you're the one to be ordaining the approval of others instead of you subordinating. Take on the other role. Give the approval yourself. Get back to me. I'd love to hear what impact that had for you, because that's one of the things I do with my clients. And yeah, absolutely, it's going to work. I promise you, it's going to be a huge game changer for you.
Awesome. Heather Lynn chimes in. She says, great challenge. Thank you. Focus a week.
Thank you, Travis.
And it is a daily practice. It's a moment-to-moment practice. You know, the tools that we're dropping on here is you got to stay with it, because like Dr. Nima says, we get triggered, we go back to our old defenses, our old strategies, and so we got to stay with this one here. I wanted to pop up one more. I felt this was really relevant. Susan chimes in. She says, I am what I perceive. What I perceive of I am. And this is so true. Cool. Hey, and check this one out too.
Our thoughts. 3 life events with rejection. Once at 9 with my best friend, found a new best friend. Then I became a pleaser at 17 when I was rejected by my boyfriend. Then bulimia later with it. Yeah. And my mother's boyfriend and mother's death. Karen, that's exactly it. I work with people. And what I do, this is the cool part. When somebody's got anxiety, depression, they're on antidepressants. I work with their doctor to get them off. One of my clients, Kim Gilmore Beard, who's been on antidepressants and anti-anxiety for 30 years, is finally going off. I've been working with her for the past 3-4 months. What we do is, Karen, I get you to list all of the regrets and resentments of your life. That's part of the intake when I'm working with people. And so what I do is I teach you tools in how to completely obliterate them, completely get to a state of gratitude, because now you're walking around with these rocks in your backpack. There are triggers. And the good news is you don't need 20 years of therapy about them. You just need a coach that's going to kick your ass into the highest version of yourself. And you can turn that story around, restore integrity with all of those people, and get your power back in a matter of weeks, days, if you're willing to do the work. And so when I discovered the hidden secret behind that, I was like, I can't be in an office anymore. I got to be traveling. I got to be teaching. So I do these workshops in group setting, and then I'd work one-on-one with clients. And it's just incredible giving people those tools of transformation.
Powerful stuff, guys. And this is personal. This is real. I mean, this isn't conceptual. That's what I love about this work. It's personal. It's practical. You can put it to work right now. And if you want to take action on this, you can share tonight's feed on your wall. I'm sure tons of your friends and family would love to hear this message. You can private message it to somebody as well. More powerful, though, is for you to just hit that little share button, share it on your wall, and then this whole video goes live onto your wall, and your friends and family can watch it at their own time and convenience. We'd also love to get some thumbs up and some loves here. If you're liking what Dr. Nima is dropping, give us a thumbs up. Throw us some hearts. All right? That's our approval. That's what we're looking for here, is that outside validation. And drop us some comments here. I love this one from Jan Miller. I just wanted to find that one. Jan says, fly your freak flag. Love it. Laughing out loud. You know, underneath it all, we are so unique. We have so much in common at the same time. And our uniqueness, you know, and I think that's the brilliance of being human. And Nima, that's something that I really appreciate in you, brother, is, number one is you're humble. You're willing to show up here and share with us your own trials and tribulations. And you're willing to dance to the rhythm of your own drum. And yes. I know that takes courage. You know, that's something you
I create my own beats. It's funny, the war of approval. Here's what I wanted to share with you guys. This is such a big topic. It permeates in existence. I'm going to write a book about it. I'm making a declaration. I'm writing a book about how to win the war of approval. Because every time you raise the bar, let's say you want to go outside your family, you want to get a job, or you want to change jobs, you're going to get two sides. You're going to get a group that's going to support you. The people who your step supports their values, they're going to give you a thumbs up, and they're going to be supportive, and they're going to go, way to go. The people, when you take that step, if it challenges the values of somebody observing, then they cannot support you. It is impossible for somebody to support you and approve of you if the step that you're taking challenges their values. Okay? So please understand, everyone has an agenda. Everyone has a set of values. Everybody has priorities and what's meaningful to them. So when you're taking a step, you're doing it for the greater good of yourself or whatever your highest values and most meaningful thing is. Somebody's going to look at it and they're going to have a problem with it. If it threatens their values, they're not supposed to support it. But here's the thing. Every time you step up to a new level and raise the bar, your numbers of people who support you will rise, and the numbers of people who challenge you will rise and disapprove of you will rise too. So when I went from, a simple chiropractor, I had my patients who supported and challenged me. Then when I bought the clinic, Westgate Wellness Center, now I have 14 practitioners, all their patients, and 6 staff. Half of them, depending on whatever decision I made, supported me if it supported their values. The other ones disapproved of me if it challenged their values. Then I said, all right, I'm done with this. I'm going to go out and speak to all of my chiropractic colleagues. So I step up and I start speaking to all my chiropractic colleagues. And one of the things that I do is I love to rap. I'm a performer. I got my right brain creative side. So I wrote a bunch of raps about health, about nutrition, about chiropractic. And so when I would go and I would speak to chiropractic groups, there'd be people going, oh my God, this is amazing. And then there was a tiny subset of chiropractors, mainly Americans from the Midwest, who didn't appreciate rap. They were like, oh my God, this is unprofessional. It's hurting the name of our profession. It's, what a disgrace. And I was like, what? How could they? But then, the ego part of me wanted everybody to like me, but the higher version of myself understood and appreciated that whenever you take a step, you're going to have a group of people say, oh my God, I love you. You're amazing. Other people go, not my cup of tea. He's a bit of a whatever. And so I'm just letting you know that if you take a step in any direction, you're going to have people saying, way to go. And then you're going to have other people. And those people could often be those closest to you. Kids, spouse, family. And that hurts a lot. Mm-hmm. But it only hurts when you have the delusion that everyone should see things my way. No, they shouldn't. Mm-hmm. No, they should understand and appreciate they see things their way. You can still love yourself if they do, and you can still love them if they do. Step forward in your power, share, be your authentic self, and know that not everyone's supposed to like you. I mean, when I work with some people, they look and they go, wow, you're really great. I really like, you're great looking. And then others, clients of mine go, you trigger me. You look like this Justin Timberlake meets Al-Qaeda. And that really triggers me, and I want nothing to do with you. I'm like, okay, all right. Let me find you another coach. So you can't please everybody.
I'm hearing Heather Lynn laughing from the other room right now. That's awesome.
Heather Lynn. That's awesome. What up, Heather Lynn?
I think awesome. You're hitting the nail on the head again tonight. And, I was under the delusion for a long time. I think I'm froze. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We're good. All right. You hear me? We're good. Awesome. Excellent. I was under the delusion as well when I was releasing the My Inner Guru program, which is it was scary as shit. I spoke My Inner Guru out loud for the first time 6 months ago. It was something I had been working internally and developing and pulling together the different content for 11 years now. And Innate kept offering me this My Inner Guru, My Inner Guru, My Inner Guru. And it was just, it was a pretty different perspective or, use of terminology. And the first time
How much did you resist it in the beginning?
Years, and finally had the courage to utter it out. And my voice was quivering. And then month went by, I released it, we started doing live talks, I started building this Facebook group, everything else. I took it to, I'm part of a men's group, and these men, they're like my brothers. You know, we've been meeting together now for 7 years. They know me well, they know what my purpose is, my passion is. And so I show up at one meeting and I'm like, guys, here's the scoop, it's happening, it's going, we've got momentum. My inner guru is out, we got a Facebook group, we're starting to do interviews. And both of them took about 15, 20 minutes and like up one side and down the other and challenge. I walked out of there. I was just like, what just happened? It was so, it was deflating. It was very challenging, but I'll tell you what, that next week I went deep inside. You know, it wasn't like a depression, it was more like just an internal introspection, but it really kind of brought me back into my core and less of like out there, hey, look at me, I'm doing so awesome. I went back in and I really sat with it, and I got so clear through their challenge. It was like, no, this is my thing. This is my gift. And I'm going to give it to the world, whether people like it or not. This is what I'm here to share. And it was through their challenge that really helped to brand me, to mold me, to help me get more convicted in what I want to share and bring to the world.
Yeah, you just nailed it, because there's a gift of disapproval. When your father, when your mother, when your whoever disapproves of a dream or a vision that you have, it's almost as though the universe is saying, Norm, how bad do you really want it? Are you doing it for the right reason? Are you doing it so everyone goes, or are you doing it because it's a calling? It's almost as though when you have a vision, you step up to do it, that the world basically, the universe, God basically goes, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to test you, but test your conviction by having all the people around you say you're nothing, you're full of it. And if you look back on all the world's great religions, these people, these inspired human beings who tapped into something greater than them, did the world roll out the red carpet for Jesus? Did the world roll out the red, like in the Baha'i faith that I was raised in? Baha'u'llah, every time he spoke, he was exiled from city to city. He'd have a group of people who were like, wow, I really appreciate what this guy's saying. And then the vast majority, especially the authorities, completely shut him down. Our profession, chiropractic, did the community just roll out the red carpet for chiropractors? Hell no, they were thrown in prison. What the naysayers and the lack of approval is a force in the universe. It's a universal force designed specifically to give you the tool, to give you the testicular or ovarian fortitude to go in and say, how bad do I fucking want this? How bad do what's my intent? Is it really just for, or the problem is with making a declaration and then having everybody approve of you is then you start doing it for the approval rather than the mission. Anybody who's been on mission has done it in the face of massive disapproval. So how bad do you want it? And that's the secret. And so if you can't take the disapproval, and I realize this is a big breakthrough for me. If I couldn't take the disapproval of my parents, then how am I going to take on the world in a system that's all wanting to medicate and deal with symptoms and do therapy day after day, week after week for 20 years, support groups and therapies and counselors who keep people stuck in a victimhood state with pills and potions and crystals. And so it's really, and so the funny thing is, once you stop giving a shit, all of a sudden those people who disapproved of you, now my parents are like, wow, we're so proud of you. And it's like, oh, okay, now that I don't give a shit. So give a shit about your cause.
There you go. I love this comment here. Heather Lynn chimes in. She says, the gift of disapproval. And, I think that's a great thing to look at. The gift of disapproval will feed or fuel our rebel with a cause, right? Especially when it's aligned with our true values. Bang on.
My program's called Powerfully Aligned for that purpose, because when you're powerfully aligned, whether you get support or challenge, it doesn't really matter. You're actually on mission, on purpose. And that's when you start to expand. That's when you start to see massive results in your life, in your physical health, in relationships, everything. And so that's what I love to do. That's what I love to teach now.
All right, so I'm looking for some more here. We tapped on the resentments and the regrets and the disappointments and like tapping into those things. So what's the next step? You know, I'm seeing a lot of people, Karen chimed in, she's able to identify it really closely. I think people can see where those moments in our lives were that we kind of got hooked up, started looking for attention or approval. What's the next step then? How do we work from there?
Cool. Karen, thank you. The next step is to change the perception of it. It's a magical technique. You and I have had the similar teachers. Are you there?
I'm here. Yeah, I was frozen. That was fine.
You know that I've been a student of Master John Demartini, Dr. John Demartini, for the past 13 years, and I took his methodology and I tweaked it and created my own called the Overview Method, which is a powerful. Actually, you've come to one of my workshops. You actually know this tool, and I'm sure you use it in another form. You have to. I mean, it's so powerful. These universal laws and principles of duality, and showing people the other side of those traumatic events that Karen was talking about. Once I take you through these exercises, you see things from such a different perspective, your vision starts to expand. The clouds that block you, that make you feel stuck, I'm not sure who I am, not sure what I want to do, I'm feeling inadequate, not really making as big of an impact, they're blown to smithereens. Your next move becomes apparent and you move. And so what I usually do is I teach people how to restore integrity to those past stories of broken down relationships that were broken down because of abuse, because of your victimhood. You go back and reconnect and regain your power, and then you work towards making your mess your message. Ultimately, the end stage of your healing, of anyone's healing journey, is when they take whatever they've gone through in their past and they use it to serve others. Whether that is through photography, whether that is through healing, whether that is through your art, whether that is through teaching, whatever has been, blocking you is gone, and you are ready to step up and level up. And so I work with people who are looking to become leaders, a very precious select few who are looking to abandon their victimhood stories and traumas and abuses and then move forward in leveling up in their service in all areas of life. That's the next.
Yeah, I did your overview, and I got to tell you, I was surprised at the nugget I found at the bottom. And, it was an experience of me, age 5, falling over backwards, ass over tea kettle, landing in butt first in a paint tray of paint and feeling absolutely horrified by the experience. And then jumping into my persona of trying to fix the situation and being a people pleaser, especially with my parents from that moment on. It was a powerful, powerful experience. Very surprising as well. And I think that often is when we really get in there. It's like, oh my God, is that really what's
I didn't know that was there. It's a thing. There's two types of people in when I work with people or when they come to the workshops. By the way, we have one coming up in Vancouver, and there's like 3 seats left. We're like 95% sold out. I'm going to leave a link here. drnima.com/events right there. Cool. I'll give that to you. To definitely get on or, message me privately if you want to have a chat and see if it's right for you. In these live trainings, there's 2 types of people. Those that are like, oh my God, 100%. I know the time that I had it happen. I was 8 years old and I've been traumatized ever since. So when I'm in the seminars, I go, okay, let's go back to your earliest memory of when this happened. And they're like, boom, the tears start coming. That's type number 1. Or type number 2, the person that goes, I don't know. I don't remember anything. I just don't have a recollection. Remember anything. And I'm like, yeah. I've heard that before. I take you through the exercise. We get reconnected to the feelings. And all of a sudden, they're like, oh my God, I was 3 years old and this is what happened. Every single time. I've had hundreds go through my program. my one-on-one sessions, people who say they don't remember those past events, you will find them. And so what we do is we get to those events, we clear them out, and lo and behold, you emerge a more powerful version of yourself. I mean, I remember seeing you at that, you're number 2, Sarah. That's cool. It's no problem. Just know that memories aren't stored like a computer file drawer. They're accessed through emotion and feelings. So the exercise that I take you through is we get you, there's like a workbook. I get you through, you access in a feeling and an emotion, you feel it in your body, and you sit there and meditate on that feeling for a moment. And then I ask you, so go back to your earliest memory when you felt that, and then boom, it pops up 100 times out of 100. And then I show you the process of neutralizing it and clearing it once and for all. And the cool thing is what I've observed in you, I mean, I had gone through my dark night of my soul just a few months before you came to the workshop. So I was very raw. I was really kind of in that space of, this is what's going on. And you were knee deep in it at the time. You were knee deep in it. And you were just sitting there like, skeptical, and boom, this. And so the cool part about that was I'm not taking credit for it at all. It's all 100% you, because you're your own inner guru. I wonder, you are your own inner guru. You know that, right, Norm? You've heard that before, right? So it's about accessing your own inner guru, and you got that. And ever since then, that was in October, you've taken one step after another, and here we are. You have completely I don't want to use the word blossom because that might be too much in the feminine, but you've bloomed into this. I've just been watching, going, woohoo, cheering you on. And going, I love it. So it's been awesome watching you emerge.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm having fun with it too. It's scary as shit at times. And hey, you know what? And it keeps emerging, It's a blossoming, but it's like one petal on one petal. I think earlier on, people think like, once I get it right, then it'll be done, or I'll have it figured out. And what I'm seeing along the journey, it's like you open up, you expand, and then, oh shit, there's another wall. And then and you wrestle with that, and then it opens up, and then we're working on the next piece.
Here's my experience. Every time you go into a transition, so you were a chiropractor full time. Then when you started My Inner Guru, it forced you to expand. So every time you raise the bar, you're going through a transition, which is going to trigger feelings, beliefs, and stories that were from previous transitions. So when I transitioned during the sale of my practice, all sorts of feelings and triggers from when I went through my divorce 5 years prior were getting triggered. It was crazy. It was as though I was going through another divorce. It was amazing. So, yeah, it was pretty incredible. So I see a couple people were like, an island workshop would be great. You know what? I do them all over the world. It's going to be in Vancouver, not this weekend, but next weekend. That is going to be your best opportunity to jump on board and take part. I mean, it is worth it. People are flying in from Puerto Rico, from, all over the world. So taking a ferry will be well worth the trip, I promise you.
I back that up. We drove down to Victoria to see you, and it was worth the trip. And hey, what's your personal growth and development worth? And if you're resonating with what Dr. Nima is dropping tonight, go deeper. We came home with an awesome workbook from the weekend. It's well thought out. This is a researched approach that he's done years and years in development, and it's powerful. It's real. So I just wanted to bring one up here, and then we're going to go on to the next step, just because this is hilarious. Oh no!
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other one. We're going to drop on this one.
The pores onion.
That one there.
I was like, do I need a facial or something? What's that?
That's awesome. That's great.
Live broadcasts.
That's great. Okay, so here we are. We chatted it down tonight. If people want to go deeper with Dr. Nima, connect with him. Check out his website. Check out the workshop. If you're liking what Minor Guru is dropping tonight, this is a weekly event. We bring in leading experts from around the world. Hit like on our page, and then we can notify you of future events and future conversations. So Dr. Nima, I know that Dr. John DeMartini has been one of your key teachers along the way. And yeah, we'll bring that up for you. I'd like you to share with us what your favorite Dr. DeMartini quote is as we...
It's so fitting because we're talking about the war of approval. He said, when the voice and the vision on the inside becomes louder and more profound than the opinions on the outside, approval, then you've begun to master your life. So I take people through this process to how to master their lives, clear their past, resolve their trauma, heal, and become powerfully aligned. And right there, you know, if you want to check it out, there's a free training. You just go to drnima.com and register for the webinar that is coming right up. And just 1 hour, I take you through how to become powerfully aligned, how to go from stressed, depressed, and anxious to powerfully aligned and on purpose by making 5 critical shifts. So check it out on my website, and it's there available for you to check out. And I'd love to chat with you if you feel inspired to delve deeper, to apply for an opportunity to be able to really change your story and clear your shit.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay, people. So step up to the plate. If you're hearing the calling, make the trip just across the waterway for us Nanaimo folks. For the other people who knows where you're tuning in from, we've had people from around the world join us tonight, which is pretty cool. And thank you, Nima, for joining us all the way from South Carolina.
Yes, I'm at a training myself. I'm constantly upgrading and working on mindset. Hey, Ricardo just started in my program just a couple of weeks ago. Just a few weeks ago, we had some powerful shifts already. If there's anybody that wanted to share what their experience has been, I'm happy to answer any questions if you had. I am becoming powerfully aligned. Yes, you are, my friend. If there's any questions, right now would be a great time to ask. I'm here, or you got something for Norm. If you got me for a Q&A moment. Otherwise.
Yeah, we're there. Okay, well, it was a great night. Thank you. I want to have you back on the show sometime and just think that there was a lot of alignment between our message here at My Inner Guru, which is all about tuning into our inner wisdom, right, which is our authentic selves. It's not about tuning into somebody else's and the shoulds that we run on ourselves. So Nima, thank you for your time, your wisdom, your dedication to your craft, for being you and just showing up and being playful tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Yes. Thank you. Absolutely. Nobody else loved me, so I decided to love myself. No, I'm just kidding. Great to chat with a brother. I'm really proud of your development, that we are both colleagues in the profession who are aspiring to delve deeper. And you're on the right path. Keep going. Blaze through all of that and just love on everybody, critics, haters, lovers, all along the way. It's it's an incredible journey, and it'd be a tragedy if everybody approved of you all the time, so just bring it on, baby, bring it on. Travis, thank you.
Awesome. Excellent. Okay, we're going to pull it together. Nima, thank you so much. Everybody else out there, this is Dr. Norm reminding you to attune to the wisdom within, live your authentic selves, and dance like you don't give a shit if anybody's watching. All right, we'll catch you next time. Be well.